hang on, I'll go and check on it. And
They've lost a lot of money apparently. Uh, I think that's the way I think that's what it is. Windows 8, I have tried it about about 3 or 4 times, and it's still causing problems. So I've decided put it in the back burner to next year, and see how it comes on. Windows 7 CDs, Dean, let me check here. See. I think you can still buy them, you know.
I've just found out the information for the Microsoft, how much they've lost. They've lost 4.1 billion in shares as well. Wow.
Right, so apparently, according to the bloggers, Microsoft's supposed to be losing money on Windows 8.
Yep.
Alright, Kaz, welcome to the room. Kaz, you probably missed a lot of this, but don't worry about it. It's how to keep your computer up and running, and how to sort out a problem if your computer's slow. The video is being recorded, and you can watch it on YouTube, Justin TV, PC Careman, on a Tuesday. From Tuesday on, you'll probably find some of the details in it that might help you out. Have you ever come across that problem? I bought Windows 8 Pro for $24.99, and it was the worst buy I've bought from Windows Vista came out. Right, now friends, you can buy Windows 7 still on Amazon.com, and Steve, if you come across a site where you can still buy Windows 7, mate, if you can post it in for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yep, I can do that certainly. And it's the one I use for going to buying most of my computer stuff.
Now friends, if you do think that your hard drive has problems, okay, or you think that there's maybe a problem with it,
there you go.
Right, cheers mate. There's a number of software you can get. Also, there's some recommendations here. Now this particular fix-it on Windows 7 Vista or XP, where you go to your hard drive, right click and go to tools. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, okay. Yeah, you do have spin rate, you can buy it from GRC website. I actually bought it myself. Or you can use what they call hard drive testing tools, okay. Now this particular one is for Seagate or Seagate hard drive. If you've got a Seagate hard drive in your computer. Hitachi. Okay, I'll give you the website in a minute. Microsoft built-in air checking, the Samsung, and you have some diagnostic tools you can use to check to see what condition your hard drive's in.
Oh, that'd be handy for me.
If you find that you think you're infected with a virus, you can try running your antivirus skill on. If you're still not happy that the program has cleaned your computer and is still slow, to save yourselves wasting all this time, what I would recommend that you wipe it, you format the hard drive and start again. Because if you do get infected, there is certain Trojans out now that can cause you headaches, and I would know because I was on a computer the other night for about 2 or 3 hours because the guy clicked on a link. He got a message, an email message, and it said your Skype security has failed. Click on this link to get it fixed. Unfortunately, he clicked the link. He was infected with a Trojan, and the Trojan will try to stop you installing an antivirus program because it doesn't want you to take it off. So be very careful, friends, on links. Steve, is there anything on the hardware end that can cause your computer to go slow? Obviously a faulty motherboard, faulty hard drive and RAM. Is there anything else?
There could be if there's a fault with the process as well, that could cause your computer not to work, or even the power supply, or...
Right. If you want to pull Tax in there, he's welcome to come in, or Dean or Kaz, whoever wants to come in. Now, there is some tools here for testing hard drives, friends. If you've got the patience and the time to do it, okay, you will know whenever your hard drive's running. Sometimes you will hear a spinning noise, or sometimes you will hear a strange noise which will indicate there's something wrong, okay?
Yep.
Now, depending on hard drives can go like everything else, especially if you buy an old computer. Sometimes they can go very quick. There also is a RAM tester programs on the internet for testing your memory. And there is ways of tweaking your operating system to make it go faster. Don't install programs just for the sake of installing them. And don't have too many running in the background. Okay. And make sure that your browser is up to date. Firefox is up to 18.1 at the minute. Okay. Now, if you use that program that I have, you will see all my programs are up to date. It's called PSI. If you go to Google and type in PSI, you can use that in Windows 7, Vista or XP. Install it, do a scan, and it will update your programs automatically. Now, there's a very important thing, friends, out, and this is important. Okay, this is important. You want to disable the flash in your web browsers. Java Flash in your web browsers. If you can install it off your computer, I would recommend you install it. Now, some websites do require it. Okay, some websites do require it. So if you don't want to install it, you can do this here. Okay, this is Firefox. Go to add-ons and install this program. No script, okay, no script. Okay, just click install. When you're going to Blog TV, you will have the temporary alert. Otherwise, you will not be able to see Blog TV web browser, the information. Okay, this is no script. It sits at the bottom corner here. Okay, and you have a list of different things you can do. If you trust the website, click temporary allow this page. If you don't trust it, don't do anything. Now, what does this do for you? This prevents if you happen to go to the wrong website, or you click on a link by mistake. This will prevent your computer from getting infected. Some of these guys are very smart. They embed a JavaScript on their website, you can't see it. When you click on the website, it installs a Trojan on the back door, you don't even see it. So no script will save your bacon. If you trust the website, temporarily allow this page, and it'll let you browse away. This website is not encrypted. There's a number of ways of checking websites if you know a wee bit about programming and stuff like that. If you don't, use the plugin. Okay, so you want to be careful with Java. The FBI recommend that you install it. Okay, that's how serious it is at the minute. There's over millions and billions of computers infected today with Trojans. Even though we're using Linux, you want to stick a plugin called NoScript, because Linux can be infected by a Linux. And plus Linux uses Java, so there is a chance that you can still get infected. Okay, so be careful. Alright, at that, welcome to the remit. Okay, my friends, I have said for years when I'm broadcasting, some people find it hard to take all this in. This is basic stuff, okay? And some of these ideas can actually save you trouble. So if you have a slow computer and it's working brilliant yesterday, there's a number of things you want to check, okay? Obviously check that your system's updated by your Windows Update. Check that your antivirus scanner is updated. It doesn't matter whether you're using AVG or using a free one or a paid one. Whatever tickles your fancy. Make sure your program's up to date, but do run your virus scanner. If you find out that your virus scanner is giving you trouble, go to your browser, type in online scan and do an online scan. You can download what they call standalone tools and keep them as spare. They don't run in real time and you can scan your computer. McAfee Stinger is one of my favourites for Windows 7. It's a standalone tool and it will scan your computer for all the latest backdoor botnets and etc. And this will save you running to the computer shops and hunting out money. If you take your computer to a computer shop and you tell them it's slow, they're not going to sit and foot about with it and run scans, because it's money and time consuming. They're not going to be like me and say, I'll go TeamViewer, I'll spend 40 minutes to half an hour and see if I can fix it. Computer shops don't work like that. Computer shop will wipe your computer, reinstall Windows if you haven't got it, and charge you anything from 50 to 60 quid or more. That's the way it works. So if you don't want to hand out that money, come in here and you'll save you a bother. You'll get it for nothing. Okay, so this is basic stuff. Okay, so some people are more advanced than others in technology. Okay, some guys, this is peanuts to them. But like everybody else, they had to learn this stuff in the past, or someone told them about it, okay? Now, there's no computer 100% secure, no matter how good you are. It depends what filters you have in place and what action you take to try and stop someone getting access to your computer. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it starts with your network, okay? But I'll not cover that tonight because that'll be too much to cover. Now, TDS Killer is a standalone tool for rootkits. Casper.com. There's quite a number. There's one called Blacklight and etc. They're standalone tools. Now, most antivirus programs won't check for rootkits, but unfortunately some are weaker than others. Some actually slip up. Hi, same name as yourself, I said killer, yeah. Haha, killer, okay. It's a rootkit killer, okay. Basically scans your computer and checks for rootkits. Right friends, if you suspect that your computer is infected, when you've downloaded these programs or done an online scan, I would advise you to disconnect off the internet and carry on doing your scan. I'd also recommend that you do it in safe mode. Restart your computer, press F8 key on your keyboard and go into safe mode. When you're running in safe mode, there's less chance of your computer getting infected. Or sorry, let me rephrase that. When you're running in safe mode, there's less drivers that will load up, and other programs won't interfere with it. So you can take a few steps to try and check your system if you suspect that it's not going as well as it was yesterday. If you've checked your configuration utility and you went through the normal steps and you're still not happy, well then you want to format your computer completely. Okay. You can use your installation CD, which will give you what they call a basic format. Okay, so there's a program called Nuke and Boot, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Nuke and that's it there. Darley's Nuke and Boot. Okay, this is a half decent program to clean your system. It's an ISO. You burn it as CD, you boot your computer up, and it writes zeros to the hard drive. You just type in the word AutoNuke. Sorry, you type in the word AutoNuke, and it'll write zeros to the hard drive. It's the best cleaning device that I know of. That is what you call a format. Okay, 1 terabyte hard drive could take about 24 hours. Of course, you could use the CMD system, type in format C: or whatever. If it's a spare hard drive or whatever, there's a number of ways of doing it. Okay, so if you have to clean your computer, you want to clean it right. Anybody in the chat room wants to add to maybe something I've missed out, please feel free to do so. Typing into the chat room. Okay, so Darley's Book and Nuke. There's a web address. I will clean any hard drive that I know of. It is very important that you do back up your stuff, especially if you've got music or photographs on your computer, because there's nothing worse than being let down. If you don't have an external hard drive, use a flash drive or CDs or etc. You can also use Dropbox, Google Drive. I think it'll allow you to store, what is it, 5 gigs or something?
Yeah.
5 gigabytes or something. Okay. Right friends, I will be covering Linux distros in the next 2 weeks. If you're fed up using Windows, you're fed up having to put antivirus programs on and all that crap, whether you've got an old computer or a new computer, I will be covering Linux in the next couple of months because I personally love Linux. I'm actually running a Linux at the minute called Crunchbang. Crunchbang Linux is a hacker's Linux, okay, because you have to use the terminal all the time. Which means you learn how to use the code on Linux and etc. Linux runs as good as Windows, if not faster. I do use an antivirus program on Linux and I do use a firewall. But a Windows virus can do nothing on Linux because you have to execute it before it'll take effect. And plus you wouldn't want to put a Windows program on Linux. So there's quite a number of different Linux distros out there. And recently I've been looking for fast ones, okay? Ones that use very little. Crunchbang Linux will run on about 236 megabytes of memory. And it's easier to install than Windows. Is it possible to go from Windows 8 to Linux? Yes. Alright Grace, welcome to the room. It is, Dean, yes. It's very simple, mate. The first thing you want to do is find yourself a Linux distro. Right? how much memory is in your computer, what size is your hard drive. If you tell me how much RAM you have and what your hard drive is. Now, Crunchbang Linux is not recommended for anybody that has never used Linux before, okay? Because you have to use what they call the terminal. In Windows, we all have a CMD, which is a command, okay? Linux distros, instead of having the CMD, they have the terminal, okay? Right, if you let me know what memory you have and what hard drive space, I will find you a Linux that will run on your computer and give you less bother.
The Crunchbang is going to be one that I'm going to be trying here pretty quick.
Right, I have.
In that one did you say that we could launch from the flash drive?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have
That's what I've been wanting.
Right. I have Crunchbang Linux. Crunchbang Linux offers you two versions at the minute. They offer a version for an old computer or a version for a new computer. Okay, Dean's got 320 gigs hard drive and 6 gigs of memory. Dean, I would do what Tax is using. I would go for Zorn Linux Lite, not the Zorn Linux 6.1.
And it is good because I've tried it myself.
Okay, I would go for this one here, mate. Now, if you have two computers, if you've got two computers and you've got Skype on one computer, me and Tax will be very happy to talk you through the installation, no problem. Let me allow that no script. Temporary allow this page. Okay, now that's how you use no script, friends. You'll notice there the website didn't come up, and when I go to options and click temporary allow the page, it lets all the graphics and the flash come up. Okay, now I use no script for a reason, because it'll not matter what website I go to, because if they do have a script embedded, it ain't going to get onto my computer, okay, and it ain't going to mess it up. Now, anybody that missed last fortnight's tech show, if you go to YouTube, Justin TV PC Careman, the video of last fortnight shows up there, and you'll see a brilliant program that you can put on your Windows system. You'll never get a virus, because if your computer's not going right tomorrow, you click a button, restart, and your computer's back to normal. That's the one we covered last week. That is the web address there. Ding.
He's just disappeared, PC.
Right, give him about 20 minutes. Right, friends, I will be covering Linux in the next couple of months, because I like to switch from Linux to Windows, and in a couple of months' time I'll be covering the MacBook too. Okay, I do have a MacBook sitting here, and I just haven't had a lot of time to make sure I'm 100% confident with the OS. I'm about 70%, but not 100 just at the minute. Linux. You can use Linux as well as you can use Windows. You can browse and plug TV with Linux, and you don't need to worry about all the crap that you get with Windows.
And you can now broadcast off Justin TV with Linux without downloading any of the hardware or software. I found that out last night.
Right.
Click and broadcast, just like on blog. I was like, yeah, buddy, there you go.
So Tax says that you can actually broadcast in Justin TV now with Linux too. Now, you will notice I have covered videos in this particular one that are on YouTube. Okay. If you're not too sure about Linux, there's quite a number of distros. This particular one I would recommend for anybody that hasn't used it before. Now you've got to get the ISO, okay, and you go to free here. Okay, this is the 6.1. okay, this is what you would put on a desktop computer. If your computer's 32-bit, you'd put that one on. You'd download that ISO. If it's 64, you would do that one. Now, I would recommend going to the lighter version by clicking here, light, and download the 32-bit. Because I've tested the core version out, and I think it's a wee bit too buggy.
Yeah, I've tested it out as well myself.
PC Kermon, I'm getting dizzy with all the mouse movements laughing out loud, just kidding. Yep, well the reason I went this way is because you can actually see what I'm talking about. Okay, so you do have a core, you do have a light, and you do have an education version. I personally would go for this one and download it. Click download, go to your location, your country, and if you've got a CD burner, I use Roxy Creator because it comes with this particular operating system of the computer. Save it and you can burn the ISO. If you don't have a software burner, you can use a program called FreeBurn or an ISO image burner. Most software will do that for you.
Or you can use Nero.
Or you can use Nero. When you're booting into Linux for the first time, you want to make sure that your computer is able to boot from CD. Okay, most computers will boot from hard drive first. So if you press the F9 key on your keyboard when you're booting up your computer with your disk in, you'll boot from your CD. Or you can go into your BIOS if you know what you're doing. If you ever fancy it and you've got an old computer at home and you've got at least over 500 megabytes of memory in it, anytime you see me on Blog TV, we'll be happy to talk you through it slowly. Now, Linux comes with a software manager. They all do, okay? And the software manager, you will see here this particular one, super secure. It does come with this particular firewall, okay? Thanks to Soren OS community, are immune to Windows viruses. You'll never have to worry about any of the nasty malware, okay? Or potential security threats that arise. Now, from time to time, Linux do get Trojans. Not very often. But the beauty about Linux is the developers and the community are watching 24/7. It's not like Microsoft Windows where you might have to wait the following week to get the update for that particular problem. The Linux users supply the update less than 12 hours. That's what I love about Linux. They're always on top. Now, Tax Renegade uses Linux, and Tax was a Windows user for a long time. And I'll let Tax tell you why he uses Linux and what he thinks about it.
Well,
just shout there, mate.
Using the Windows. Come on here. 5.
You need to shout up, mate, just a bit.
Okay. I want to make sure my mic wasn't muted. Yeah, I used Windows for quite a while, and I just kept getting all kinds of Trojans and the malware and just the virus programs. You have to just constantly run them, and because we had myself and my wife using the computer, so no telling what she was clicking on. Could give us a virus or a malware or something I click on an email. It just got to be a pain. So finally, after about 9 years, I decided, I'm going to talk in the PC. He's telling me about Linux, how secure and how it was and whatnot. So I finally decided this old computer I got right here, this old Sony Vaio, we cleared it out, and we ran. I'm on my 3rd Linux OS right now, and it is the Lite, the Zorin Lite. It's very fast. It's really secure. I do run an antivirus program that they supply with it. I also run a firewall that they supply with it. I don't have to, but I do for peace of mind. And running those scams has picked up nothing. and I'm running just about not quite a gig of RAM and 80 gigs of hard drive, and I mean this thing's fast, you know. I suggest if you have an older version or an older computer, you need to really look into this. Updates come pretty frequent from time to time, which is good because it's keeping up on it. Seems like Windows, I might just get updates once a month, and there may be security issues that happen 2 months prior to that. But I don't have to defrag. That's cool. Although I remember one of your programs you talked about, there was a way of doing something like a defrag on Linux. I've been wanting to get with you on that and see if it's something I need to do or look into.
What I actually done first, the very first time I decided to use Linux. As a Windows user, I said to myself, right, there's three things important in my head. One was security. Two was the antivirus program, which runs into the security. And the third one was, do I need to defrag my operating system? So I went to Google one day and I typed in defrag Linux. And I'm told because the way the system, the open source code is, you don't need to defragnate it, because as you close down, it automatically tidies up the file system. So I decided to dig into it deeper because I wasn't happy with that answer. And I did come across some information that says you could use a terminal. There's a certain way by using a terminal to actually do it.
Right.
To do it, you have to.
That's right. It had to do with the terminal and certain command. That's what it was.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And then going back to these the CCleaner and the programs you're talking about speeding up the computer, I've been using BleachBit. It can be used on Windows as well as on Linux. I just did a BleachBit cleanup on mine, and it actually recovered almost 500. I think it was around 500 megabytes of space because I hadn't cleaned it in a while, and it cleaned it off of 3 browsers that I use: Firefox, Google Chrome, and the Chromium. So it cleaned up a lot of space for me. So BleachBit is another good free program. I had heard about this when I was running Windows and ran it on Windows, and it really cleans it up good too. Just about as good as CCleaner, I would say. I think it may even do a little bit more, but for the most part, it runs just as well as CCleaner, and it's free. Like you see on the screen there, you can donate if you want to. It pretty much runs just like CCleaner. You have to make sure that your browsers are closed when you run it, or it will not clean out the contents of the browser. You can skip it and just have it clean everything else. Good program. Y'all might want to look into that one too. I mean, I played around with a lot of different programs that clean up the computer, and I like CCleaner. I've used it for quite a while. So
you even have a portable version here. So please,
I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah, BleachBit Installer X Friends, the same as you would install any program. Oh, hold on. Let me go back one and go to no script. No script is a bit of a pain in the butt, but I would rather have a pain in the butt than get infected, you know.
Right. I mean, I know I use NoScript and I use AdBlock even still on Linux. So.
Yeah.
Now, the only one I can't use it on is Chromium for some reason. I can't use, I think it's I think it's FlashBlock is what it is. That's what it is. I can't use FlashBlock on Chromium, but that's okay. That's no big deal.
For some reason,
it's on the Chromium. For some reason, you can't use it, but I can use it on my Firefox,
Yeah.
And I think I can use it on Google Chrome too. I think it works too. So.
I'm getting a timeout here. There's a possibility, friends, because I have a load of things operating. Also, it's possibility I've got Open DNS server set too high. I think I have it set to block certain websites. Okay, so that could be another reason. So I'm going to bookmark it because I will be installing that one myself. I actually forgot about it for Windows, to be honest. But I would use it on the Linux now. Go ahead, Tex.
Well, let's see, what else I got? As far as the broadcasting on Blog TV with Linux, man, it's just click and go. You know, I mean, click on the broadcast button, and then get another little window pops up to allow my cam to be accessed, and the microphone, click that, yes, and then hit go, and I'm broadcasting. I don't have to download any media player or what's that split screen XSplit that y'all use. I don't have to use any of that. And now I found out just last night, Justin TV, same way, click and go. And I was telling Steve this earlier in PM that I actually think even my Justin TV stream is a lot clearer and cleaner. Now, Justin does give you the advantage of adjusting your microphone, which you can do on Blog TV, and Justin will allow you to adjust your bit rate, which you can't do on Blog TV. So I found that kind of cool. But I haven't had anybody there to check out my cast to see, you know, how it works, and I got the bit rate going wide open on that. But I was only on there for a few minutes just to check out the picture, and it was really super clear. So yay, Justin TV, man. We may be going back there and cast a few here and there, you know. Got some old friends over there that I know are still hanging around. So.
Right. So
what's nice, like I say, I don't have to have any of the broadcasting programs. Although, what was that? There was that one that you told me about. I did use it for a while, but it kind of slowed my system. Yeah. The web media.
No,
like that.
Webcam Studio. You can use it now on Windows or Linux.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, so what I need to do is once I get my RAM up, I can only go up to 1 gig of RAM. Right now I'm about 3/4 gigs of RAM, so I'm going to get eventually that up to 1 gig of RAM, which is as much as I can extend this old machine. And then we're going to see how that works out, because that program did work, was kind of cool, because I could use, broadcast my desktop and do some things like that. So
right.
That was pretty cool.
Right. Okay, so.
But yeah, guys, any of y'all, real quick, and then I'll shut up. Any of you guys out there, you got an old system, you want to use Linux, I'd say, hey, go for it, you know. You may have to play around and try a few different ones until you find one you're really happy with and that works well with your old system, but they're quick to install, and pretty much every one you install, you set up pretty much the same way as far as your security and everything else. You just learn a few commands and you're good to go, you know. So don't be intimidated by it. You know, if you have to use a terminal, it's not that big a deal. And you can always find help online just by Googling. Catching us here on the net, on the internet. We can help you as best we can. So I say thumbs up to Linux, guys. It's really good for me. That's it. I'll shut up.
Right. So friends, that's one of our moderators, Tex Onagate. As Tex says, he was a Windows user for years, and like everybody else that uses Microsoft Windows sometimes you get viruses, you get trojans and this, and you get fed up with it, and you get fed up having to buy all these programs to use. Okay, so Linux has been out, I believe it started around about 1980. There was a guy called Linus that decided after Unix come out first. Now Unix would have been more difficult to use because you had to use the commands all the time. Basically, it near not be sort of know something about program to use Unix. And then this guy called Linus decided that he wanted to give people a free operating system rather than having to buy a Microsoft license, he decided to build a Linux distro. I think it was based on the Debian files, DEB, and he decided to start Linux, and ever since that, I think it was 1980 or 81, if I'm wrong someone can correct me, he decided that it would be nice for everyone to have another operating system that they could do what they do on Windows, but something that would be more secure and be open and free to the public to use as a system. So he designed Linux, I think it was 80 or 81. And since that, there's been quite a number of different types out now. The Linux world has actually got very big. You've got Ubuntu Linux is recommended for first time users. You've got Mint Linux, you've got PC Linux OS,
Pinguy OS.
You've got Pinguy OS, you've got OpenSUSE Linux, you've got Zorin Linux, you've got Debian Linux, and anybody that's got old computers, actually, you know, when your computer becomes to the stage that you can't get memory for it, RAM, and it's that old they don't produce it anymore, and you possibly have 500 megabytes of memory, a RAM stick, well then, instead of throwing the computer out or recycling it, you can put a Linux distro on it. Now, Linux can be used two ways or three ways. You can install it side by side with your Windows operating system. Now, when you reboot, you have the choice of booting to Linux or Windows. So if your Windows isn't working today, you've got Linux to use. So that's a handy option. You also can install it, and it will format your hard drive for you as it goes through the process of installation. Believe it or not, some of them are very simple to install. They'll ask you, what do you want to call your computer, what your password is, do you want automatic login, or do you want a password protected, or do you want to encrypt your home folder, so you have encryption on all three. You also have X Ubuntu that will run in the oldest computer. You've got Puppy Linux, and you've got quite a number of ones. So I'll be talking about Crunchbang Linux in the next fortnight, because I'm actually running it at the minute on another computer. Okay, so long time no see, TT. So welcome to the room, Adapt, GT, Steve, Tax, and Uncle Charlie. Grace was in the room there, and Dean. I think Dean said he'd go back. Okay, now friends, this here is for Windows 7 XP or Windows Vista. Okay, and a lot of people don't know this. Whenever you start up your computer, the first time to go on the internet, or it doesn't matter when you start it, every computer has 127.00.1. okay, that is your host file. Okay, the host file contains the mapping of IP addresses to the host names. The file is loaded into the memory and the cache at startup. Then Windows, before it queries your DNS server, your internet service provider, before it even reaches it, okay? If your host file is hijacked, you can be redirected to a fake site. So if someone was able to exploit your computer, as soon as you type in Google, you will go to Google. But they are sending you to Google. You're not going to Google the way you should be. This is a very simple procedure, and I actually do it myself on every Windows computer I use. I actually even do it on the MacBook too, okay? But there's a different way of doing it on the Mac. And it is another way of stopping your computer or stopping you going to a bad website. First of all, that is the web address. Whether you're using XP Vista or Windows 7. Now, it also takes you to go back to this website at least once a month, because they do update the host file, okay? It was updated on January the 18th, 2013. You right click and save it as a target. Or you can double click. You can save the zip file, the host zip file, and click OK. You can right click and you can go to, or you can open the contained folder, which is here. Double click it, extract all files. When you go to this one here, MVPS, which is a Windows batch file, you right click, run it as administrator. On Windows 7 or on Windows 7 or Windows Vista. On Windows XP you won't have that problem. Hit any key on your keyboard and that's it. Your host file has been added. And it will stop your computer from going to thousands of bad websites. Now, this is exactly what it will stop you going to. Okay. Whenever you want to block a website, you can also do it manually, be added it in the notepad. I have covered videos previously about this. If you put the hash sign here in front of it, it'll stop you actually going to that particular website. So I've just added my host file to all these bad websites. So that now will stop this computer from going to every one of these bad websites. And the list goes on and on. If you use 5-volt search and destroy, it also will do the same thing, something similar. It'll block your computer from going or being redirected or hijacked by these particular sites. Now you can do it manually if you know what you're doing by copying this text file or downloading the text file if you don't want to use the batch file. So it gives you a wee bit more protection. And I'm not even started. You'll notice there I've only started a quarter and it has to go down right to here. So there's thousands. Right? Thousands of bad websites that my computer will not go to. Now obviously there's some other things I can't tell you about because I can't tell someone how I secure my computers, okay? But this is just some of the methods that you can take. The simple procedures. Some people use IP blockers. It does the same thing. It blocks you from going to certain sites. And some people use Malwarebytes, okay? But I prefer to edit the host file to give myself a bit more protection. If you're using Windows Vista, read the documentation. Windows 7 or Windows 8. He's actually covering Windows 8 now. Also, you will notice that I would use a plugin called Do Not Track. Okay. So if a website was trying to track my surfing habits, they're wasting their time. They won't be able to track them.
And it does work.
And it does work, okay. Now, Do Not Track Plus, you can use it in Google Chrome, Firefox browser, or I'm not too sure about Opera, I think you can. Once you install it, you leave it and it'll run itself. And I'm going to show you something, and maybe some people just don't know this, but Tax knows it, Steve knows it, I know it, and probably Charlie knows it. Okay, I just got a PM there. I have a question. How does someone move a chat from yours? Just give me a second, friends. I just have a pee out. Oh wait, that's okay. Right, there's not much you can do. There's not much you can really do about that, lady. Unfortunately, there's quite a lot of ways of hacking Blog TV. Some of them are using Notepad, basically, with a few script commands, and they're able to do what they want, you know. So on the PC 2D calls. Okay, GT, no problem. Sometimes that happens. Yep. If you go to Google and type in how to hack Blog TV, there's quite a number of different hacks out on YouTube videos. Very surprised that YouTube even letting them put them on, but unfortunately it's all PR, you know. That is how to edit your host file, friends. Now, I'm a great believer in OpenDNS. Okay, I'm a great believer in OpenDNS.
Yep, so am I now.
Alright, before I put my mouse on it, I want to make sure you can't see my IP address. Okay. Now, this website here is highly recommended by top security guys that use computers. And everybody that's using a Windows computer, whether it's Mac, Linux, can set their system to use this. And this will give you protection from your router or your hub. So if you have more than one computer on the network and one gets infected, the whole lot will get infected. But with OpenDNS server, this will stop the malware getting into your network in the first place, and it is free. Okay, so you basically have to make an account. So if you go to OpenDNS, register, make an account. It's very simple to set up. You do have a dashboard where you do have a few settings. So if you've got children at home and you're worried about where your child is going to, you can set it to stop your child from going to a particular site. OpenDNS.com. How do you set it up? I will show you. First of all, you go here, you make an account, your email, password. They will send you an email. You go to your email, click on the link and activate it. You go back in and you sign in. You go to your dashboard and you will see a number of settings. And it does explain it, very simple. Once you do that, it's quite simple. Windows 7, Vista or XP. Control panel, your network and internet, your network and sharing. Change adapter settings, Windows 7. Whatever network you're using, right click, go to properties. Obviously, you don't want to be sharing your network unless you really need to. Untick both boxes. Go to Internet Protocol 4, double click. Normally by default this one is ticked here, okay? You have to tick this one and you type in these numbers. I will leave that on the screen for a couple of minutes because these numbers that you see, every one that uses OpenDNS in the world has the same numbers, okay? So, an example to make it easier for you, network, properties. You can even do this while you're online now on Blog TV, it'll make no difference. Double click, tick use the following DNS servers and set it to there. Once you click OK, you're automatically connected with OpenDNS server. And I'll tell you the reason why I use it. And then we'll just sum up more or less for tonight and talk about whatever topic you want. I started using OpenDNS Server a few years ago. We all have a DNS server that our internet service providers use. AOL is 172 and FreeSerp is 205 and etc. There was what they call an ARC poisoning system out on the DNS servers that our internet service providers have. So basically we were open to ARC poisoning on our network systems. And because I listen to technology and I try to follow it and go into it as deep as I can, and I try to keep on top of all the cybercrime of the world, OpenDNS Server was the only place that had protection for the ARC poisoning. So I have using OpenDNS servers still to this day. It does not slow my internet connection down. You can set individual computers to use it, or you can set your main home hub, which means any computer device goes through it will be using it. It will not slow your computer down, no matter what your ISP tells you. Because my ISP tried to tell me because I was using it, it was slowing it down, which was bullshit. Because I contacted OpenDNS and they told me it's the ISP. This is not illegal to use, this is 100% legit. Government computers today are using OpenDNS. Some are using a Tor network. This is the easiest method and the most secure. You can also set it for your internet 192. Everybody's got a network 192.67 or was it 192.168.0.1 and etc. Some have got 10.0.0, was it 10.0.0.1.2. Okay, so this will also protect your network and stop someone from spoofing your network system. So OpenDNS Server, simple to use. If you want to use it, I would recommend it. It's free. You can't pay for a premium. It gives you a wee bit extra. And it'll also save all your cache for you, which means you don't have to save it on your computer. So every time you go to Google, over a period of time, your computer will start to come faster, loading up the web pages.
Yep.
You do have an option of setting it to, when you go to OpenDNS Server itself, when you sign up, you can set your parental control to low, or you can set it to medium, and it blocks porn websites and etc. Later I'll do a bit of research into that question, and if I can find a way of stopping it, you'll be the first one. I'll let you know. I'll PM you in the quad as soon as I finish the show. I'll do a bit of research and see if you can put something in place to stop it. So if you want to use this, friends, you can actually use this on your mobile phone devices too, and it will protect your mobile devices. Okay, OpenDNS Server. It is highly recommended by security experts. Now, this is the last thing I want to cover, and then I'm going to leave it open to Tex or Steve. If there's anything that I have missed on how to speed up your computer or to make it faster or more secure, I'll leave it up to Steve or Tex too. Or if anybody's in the room, even Uncle Charlie, don't be afraid to say. There was one other thing I wanted to cover. That's OpenDNS Server. I would recommend you set your computers and not your hub. Let me see now.
Well, I got a question. Does that work for the Linux also? I don't know if we covered this before or not. So
it does, yes.
Or is it required?
Well,
do it anyway?
Well, I did for in case there was a chance that someone was able to install 007 Spy on the network, surveillance tapping or something like that. I would do it on the Linux by going to the internet connection, click at it, and then go to IPv4 and they set it up that way. Now, when you're doing it on Linux, you'll have one bar, so you would type in the first set of numbers, leave a space, and then type in the next set. And hit apply and save to all. I use it on the OpenDNS, or I use it on Linux too. And if you go to your command prompt, or there is a command for your terminal where you can type in, and it'll tell you why you're using it. It'll tell you what's established to a particular connection. Now, I have covered this stuff here before too. I just want to make sure I don't give any details out when I'm showing you this. Okay, now, this website, friends, is not owned by me. This is owned by a security expert. Okay. And if you're ever worried about whether your computer's secure to a certain extent, can anybody see what ports is open on your computer to possibly hack you or something? Well, then this is the proper place to go. Okay, if you go to Google and type in Shields Up, you can check your system. You will go to the website and you tick the first one, file sharing. Now, I have to be careful I don't show you my IP address here. If I do, I'll refresh it quick. Alright, now I've just checked the file sharing ports on my computer. Yeah, I nearly did. Okay, and it says here, unable to connect with NetBIOS to your computer, your internet port 139 does not exist, and etc. Okay, the next one I want is common ports. Okay, Josh, no problem. Now, friends, this is what the results that you want to see. Okay, and this is my computer at the minute. All the ports, all the services, Telenet port and stealth. Okay, there's no evidence. Yeah,
it does work on Linux too,
yeah,
by the way.
yeah. There's no evidence whatsoever that a port or even a computer exists at this IP address, which is my IP address. That is the results that you want. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying to anybody on the internet that I'm better than any hacker. Okay. But what I'm saying is, I will try to make it hard for that particular hacker to get access.
So basically, you can't be found on the internet. Huh?
Now, as far as this website's concerned, I don't exist on the internet.
Oh, sweet.
Right. Now, but friends, you could slip up very simple. This particular port here, 5000, is used as UPnP plug and play port. Okay. You have host ports here.